In 1972, a peculiar observation was made. When looking at tissue under a microscope, some cells weren't dying violently. They weren't bursting and spilling their contents in a messy inflammation called necrosis. Instead, they were shrinking, quietly dismantling themselves in a process so orderly it had to be deliberate. John Kerr, Andrew Wiley, and Alistair Curry gave it a name derived from ancient Greek, apoptosis. It means falling off, the same way leaves fall from a tree in autumn, a controlled, programmed release, not a violent tearing. This wasn't cell murder, it was a carefully orchestrated suicide. Within a cell that receives this fatal instruction, a cascade of events begins. Its internal scaffolding, the cytoskeleton, is disassembled. Its DNA is precisely chopped into fragments by molecular scissors. A family of proteins called caspases acts as the executioners, carrying out the sentence with chilling efficiency. The entire cell then blebs, fragmenting into tidy, membrane-wrapped packages called apoptotic bodies. These are promptly consumed by neighboring scavenger cells, like a sanitation crew cleaning up without a trace. There's no mess, no inflammation, just a quiet disappearance. This process isn't just for disposal. It's a primary tool for creation. As an embryo, you had webbed hands and feet, like a duck. Apoptosis is what carved your individual fingers and toes, chiseling away the cells in between. Your brain overproduces neurons and then prunes back the ones that don't form strong connections, refining your neural circuits for maximum efficiency. Every second, about 1 million of your cells perform this act to maintain the balance of your tissues, making way for new cells in your gut lining or your skin. It is the sculptor's chisel that shapes you, and the janitor that keeps you clean. Its most critical role, however, might be as your silent protector against internal threats. Imagine a cell in your body is zapped by UV radiation from the sun. Its DNA is damaged, creating a potential mutation. The cell now faces a critical decision point. A protein named p53, often called the guardian of the genome, inspects the damage. If the DNA is repairable, p53 halts the cell cycle to give it time. But if the damage is too severe, p53 issues an irreversible command: initiate apoptosis. The potentially cancerous cell quietly eliminates itself before it can become a tumor. Cancer, in many ways, is simply the story of a cell that learns to ignore this command. Over 50% of all human cancers involve a mutated, non-functional p53 gene. The guardian is asleep at the wheel. These outlaw cells can also ramp up the production of anti-apoptotic proteins, effectively plugging their ears to the death signal. The result is a cell that has achieved a twisted form of immortality. It divides without end and refuses to die when it should, accumulating more and more mutations. This is the foundation of a tumor, a population of cells that have broken the fundamental pact of multicellular life. This raises a profound evolutionary question. Why would natural selection, which favors survival and reproduction, hardwire a mechanism for self-destruction into every cell? The answer lies in the transition from single-celled life to complex organisms like us. For a multicellular body to function, the individual cell must subordinate its own survival for the good of the whole. The cell isn't a separate entity in the evolutionary sense. It shares the exact same DNA as every other cell in your body. By sacrificing itself to prevent a cancer that could kill you, the cell ensures the survival of the trillions of copies of its own genes located in your other cells. It's kin selection on a microscopic scale. You can think of your body as a society of trillions of cells, all bound by a social contract written in your genetic code. Apoptosis is the ultimate enforcement mechanism of that contract. A cell that acquires dangerous mutations is a threat to the society, so it is peacefully executed. A cell that is no longer needed, like a neuron in a redundant pathway, is retired to conserve resources. This cellular contract is what allows for specialization, for a heart cell to be a heart cell, and a skin cell to be a skin cell, without either trying to become immortal and take over. Cancer is the breakdown of this society. It is cellular anarchy. But this idea of programmed self-sacrifice is far older than you are. It's older than vertebrates. Scientists have found apoptosis-like mechanisms in single-celled organisms. A bacterium in a starving colony might lyse itself to release nutrients for its identical siblings to consume. A yeast cell infected with a virus can trigger its own death to prevent the virus from replicating and spreading to the rest of the colony. This reveals that cellular suicide isn't just a feature of complex creatures. It's a deeply ancient fundamental strategy for ensuring that the genes, not necessarily the individual cell carrying them, survive into the next generation. Your cells die so that your genetic lineage can live.
Monotony has grown fast. Nearly 2,700 people have watched in the last few weeks, yet less than 0.03% are subscribed. It would mean a lot if you joined by hitting subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.